Busting the world's oldest conspiracy by revealing the first writer's formats in the Bible. Have you ever wondered who is editing the Bible? These are some of the words written by the 1611 King James translators that are wrote in its preface. They state 4 reasons how anyone can re-edit the text in the Bible. Their third reason is by the light and feeling we attained unto ourselves. The next arrow down points to them writing, a great clerk, Gregory, is the divine, spelt with a capital D. At the bottom, they will tell you by studying the Bible, your reward is to have a participation in a heavenly nature. Whereas the Bible's words should be telling you how to be obedient to our Creator to enter into heaven. Now you know by their own words, they are not the good guys editing the Bible. Here, let me show you the 12 commandments that are listed in Exodus chapter 20, verses 1 through 17. Surprising, isn't it? Now let me show you how I changed one word in Exodus chapter 26, verse 26, the word bars to arches, and now you know that these planks make the hip roof for the tent for meeting for YHVH. Why did I just use 2 letters for our Creator's name? Well, Hebrews did not have the letters J, O, or W in their language. Therefore, I am closer when I say the letters YV in English than anyone else. It is better to learn how to pronounce these 2 letters in Hebrew. Our Creator made me see Him 8 times, and these videos are my recording of how and why I am re-editing their text. Then all these books that I am editing will be made into one book in order. In my YouTube description, it has our Creator's hidden formats in a PDF of the same text. In fact, it is a message to everyone today and in the future. I have also made many different styles from these hidden formats for copyright reasons. Okay, now what happened? Whoops. What happened last time was I stopped in the middle of 43, or not the middle, the end. I thought when I got done explaining this that was the end of the chapter, and it wasn't. So this is, I gotta make up and finish off chapter 43 first. Do not call to mind the former things or ponder things of the past. Behold, I will do something new, will spring forth. You will not be aware of it. I will even make a roadway in the wilderness. Okay, I don't think this is our way our Creator speaks to people. So the beast of, yeah, exactly here. Now that's some oversalted word. The beast of the field will glorify me. The jackals, everybody here, and give drink to my chosen people out of the desert. No. People who I formed for myself will declare my praise. No, that's not going to happen. Let's get rid of that. You have become weary of me, Israel, and you have not brought to me sheeps of burnt offerings, and this guy doesn't understand. Who's ever writing this is so far against our Creator, it's not funny. You have to bring him sweet cane with money, and you have neither filled me with the fat of sacrifice. That's you're expected to feed our Creator. Well, we already know what atonement is. He set up his whole super, I guess that's what I call you, superior. Okay, superior. How you doing on a Sunday? I'm doing real good. And I just come online here, and I don't even think 5 minutes yet. That was quick. Glad to have you watching. In just a second, I will get to exactly what I'm doing. I messed up and I forgot the end of chapter 43. Put in remembrance, let us argue our case. You're going to actually argue with our Creator, right? Well, obviously, there's nothing more here in 43. So let me set up today's video here. And what I did find in 43, though, was a small little bit about Jesus. And it's a prophecy from our Creator. And what I am doing is I'm looking for two major words, and then I'm putting the least amount of little words to make complete sentences. This is a 3-verse format, which means that this is a statement, and these two verses connect together like a sentence that tell us what the statement is about. And what happens is that this becomes a small paragraph, and then another like paragraph, and it's so alike that it kind of makes a larger paragraph. And that's how they wrote a 4-verse format over 2,400 years ago. And I'm honoring and respecting our Creator by putting His words in all capital letters, and then Jesus, when He's talking about Jesus, in red. So what happened here is that I got one good group here, one group here, and you can see that I needed to add 3 empty lines to say that I needed to complete the format. Now there is other formats, and that's the 4-verse format that's above here, and that's where these two verses here complete like a sentence, and then it does this again, and then that becomes a small paragraph, and then 2 of them together again make one large paragraph. Very beautiful writing, considering I've never seen anything like this anywhere with this type of exactness of the language with a pattern to it. So, but I'm going to start now chapter 44, and I hope to get to 45 as well. What I'm doing is I'm taking all these formats that I find, and I'm going to put them together as one book in the correct order. Now, down here off to the side, I tell you that in my YouTube channel, I have already a lot of books put together. So not as many as I'd like, but I'm working them backwards, and I'll be doing Isaiah next. So there's probably about 15 more books that I have to do before I'm completed. But there is some of the books I've already put together, and it's still in a rough format looking because not sure where all the text is going or coming. So, but I'm going to start talking, and I'm going to start explaining the words and why I'm putting them together, and the format will appear, and you can see this is already divided into 3, and this is 3, so that makes it a little easier to help me decide. This is the New American Standard Text from 1977, and that's because I have a concordance here that allows me, I'm in 43 yet. It allows me to actually click on a word, and it shows it in the Hebrew or Greek word. And then what's so dangerous about this program, they tell you how many times each word was used, each English word was used. So it goes from made to bear to attain to bring, which is pretty close. But there are so many things wrong with the text. But this is why I can say that you can't use or say every word is exactly true, because look at how many different words they've got here. Just like this word do, that has actually got its own Hebrew word. So, but that book or that text allows me to get another word that might help the text along to be more truthful. So usually at the end, I go over and show what I found for the day. So if you want to just skip through, get to the bottom, that's fine. And I'm going to start digging in here and trying to find our Creator's hidden, or the first writer's formats that they started with. And this intro I did has a lot of explaining about the 1611 translators put together the preface and explained that Gregory is the divine, and your reward is to have a fellowship with the saints and a participation of a heavenly nature. So the good guys aren't editing the text in the short run here. So, but I'm getting rid of them because they actually started with this text, put it together, then been rewriting it probably about 2,300 years. So, but now listen to my servant Israel, whom I have chosen. Now this would have to be Israel the male to be a servant. Now listen, and I'm going to remove that, remove this. Now listen, my servant Israel, whom I have chosen. And this has to be, this gets changed to today's word as this. I got to give honor and respect to our Creator's word here. This was, now it says it could be, there's a word right now that's missing here. I don't know if this is the prophesied or he just said these words, or declaring them, or what other word that I can use here. But YV, who made you, this would have to be I, YV, made you, which is a really weird way to start out how he would talk. Because these words are to be prophesied or heralded in front of the gate of this house, or walking, or at the gate entrance to Jerusalem, or wherever our Creator sends him. So I, YV, made you and formed you in, I gotta say, her womb. Only women can give birth, so we gotta make sure that, whoops, it's not that way. Let's replacing this, adding this. Who formed you in her womb? Okay. Who will help you? Do not fear. Now this. Okay, now we don't know who this guy is, but it would be that I've got this wrong, but it would be broke here. So let me see who they're saying this guy is. An upright one, just somebody who is upright. And that's wrong, because the thing here about the Hebrews, they give certain words and they're defined. Example, Abraham was a righteous man or male. That means that he was most obedient to our Creator. No thanks on the extras there. But the thing here is after you have to, the most obedient are righteous. And then you have different steps down from righteous. Righteous is the highest. And then it would be obedient. And then I can't think of the other words. My mind just drew a blank. So that text is wrong when they're trying to say that he's upright. See, it should be he is righteous. My servant, whom I have chosen. Now, this is a 3 verse. If I put the period here, then I have this, and I have this. And if I have this, and this, and this, and all of a sudden I've got a 4 verse. Who will help you? That would be wrong. Do not fear my servant whom I have chosen. The only one that he's really chosen is Jesus as his chosen one, or his holy one, or his servant. So this would have to be the Hebrew word Yah. Oops. Yah was the name that they gave him. And I can show you that by Isaiah 38, King Hezekiah. When he was talking, he says, telling us about his life. He said, "I will not see Yah in the land of the living." Now you know they're to wait for Jesus, so this is who he was saying was Jesus. He was to wait for, and these were the titles that were here. Lord. They tried to actually make his name here as the name of the God of Israel. Well, that's not really true. It should be more like this here. He is the King of Israel, okay? Not see Yah in the land of the living. So this would have been the King of Israel. If they're going to use a title, they've wiped that out. So that's why I'm saying Yah is the correct word. And his name would be in red. And being our creator is supposed to be saying these words. But why are you to be in fear? Now listen. Oh, okay. Now listen, my servant, for Israelis. Israelis are the good ones. Those are the ones that are doing the best they can to follow every one of the statutes, commandments, laws, and guidances that our Creator gave them. So, but it didn't introduce him as who he's, how this starts out. Usually the prophet is saying, like this was said, I formed you from the womb. Now listen, my servant for Israelis, whom I chose would have been Jesus. So partly in here we need to know that. And then here. So now listen, my servant for Israelis. Now listen, my servant for Israelis, whom I have chose. That doesn't read very smoothly either, even when it's cleaned up to be truthful. My servant from. No, my servant from. Now when it says Israel, that's really wrong. It's Abraham. Now why do I say it's Abraham? Well, I just happen to know the verses there which says Abraham. And I can start by showing you right here. The first words about Jesus is starting in Genesis 17:6, when he's taken Abram and make his name Abraham, and then he's going to establish his covenant or his multiple promises that he's going to make through many or too many males and kings. But he says right here that I'll make nations from you, okay, his descendants, okay, and kings shall come forth from you. Now we come down to Genesis 18:18, and in him, a king, all the races of the earth will be blessed. And we don't know what blessed is until Nathan talks to David, or tells David, through his son's seed shall come a king, and he will have a king in heaven forever. And that's the only verse that says why you are going to enter into heaven. Okay? So that's why I'm using Abraham. It starts way back at Abraham's time, not Israel, who is Isaac's son, Jacob, who our Creator named Israel. It starts with Abraham. Now listen, my servant from Abraham, whom I chose. This isn't reading, this is reading way out of whack. Because usually it's like this is where he starts saying this was a prophecy. YHVH made you. See, it's not even like a prophecy. That's really, and again, I've got a repeat of verse here that says this, which this is not making sense here. Not correctly set in the right order. When I start finding a pattern, it's obvious that what I'm digging out blends from like what you've seen at the beginning when I pointed out there. I'm having a hard time thinking any of this text is going to work. It's like looking at text that when they started writing, the one who understood that they were actually writing this way, they decided to write that way, and they didn't do as good as the other writers. I mean, a lot of times just the style of the writing of that person can be what I call read tasted, that you read it over and over and it just has a certain way for the words to flow, or how he writes the verses. So this is not like anything. This just looks like this is a piece, this is a piece, and this is a piece, because they really don't connect together at all. Because this can't be a copy. Because I would say that's not the, I think this is all going to be out. So let me see how it goes here. I will pour out water on the thirsty land. Yep. Well, that's a big deal. I will pour out my spirit on your offspring and my blessing on your descendants. Our Creator doesn't pour out his spirit for nothing. This person doesn't understand who our Creator is. Our Creator speaks things into existence, so he's not going to pour it out. Okay? So that's just too far away from me trying to correct text. And they will spring forth among the grass, like poplars by the stream of water. And you can see that that's what I call oversalted. It tastes really bad when you read it and try to understand it. This one will say, I am YHVH'S, and that one will call the name of Jacob. Another will write on his hand, I belong to YHVH, and will name Israel's name with honor. It's got the 4-verse style, but like I said, not very well to tell me how the story is developing. He's now the king of Israel, and his redeemer YHVH. Now that Now, there are so many times I've had to say this because this comes up so many times in this that it's making me mad. I got to say it all the time. Our Creator isn't the first. He's not the last. That means there would be no existence when our Creator has death. And that, no, our Creator is. Okay, so this guy who put this together, these verses together, no, and he doesn't understand who the Redeemer is and why the word redeem is tied to bringing your soul out of Sheol, or out of the abyss, into heaven, or those that are good. And then after Jesus, on his second coming, and all man on earth is ended, he's going to call their souls to heaven and send the other souls to the abyss. And then our Creator is going to make another dimension of time and space. And those that he surely is divided out, they're not going to be around him at all forever. That's something to think about, because you are going to be forever. Who is like me? Let him proclaim and declare it. Now, see, our Creator, who's going to compare himself to man. Our man is to make himself. This is. And like now prophesy about what is to come. That beyond description of how they a long time ago write about not knowing who our Creator is. That's to me it's kind of funny here. But do not tremble and do not be afraid. I have not longed, for I have long since announced it to you and declared that you were my witness. Is there any God besides me? Well, that's funny. Our Creator made everything, so you would know this answer. Or is there any other rock? I know of none. Okay, so when you think of even the title God and what it means, why would our Creator be using that word besides me? Okay? Whose fashion engraving, no prophet, even their own fail to see or know, so they will be put to shame. Look, I've got at least 3 times now, 4 times maybe already in Isaiah about making idols and how they're no good. So who has fashioned a God. Now, how can you fashion a God? You can fashion an image of God, but you can't fashion a God. But then again, the ones who are editing the text, they're the ones that are saying you can become a God. So they don't have the same concept as a believer of knowing there is one Creator and then he has created everything. Because it's kind of hard to find anything that's out there that isn't perfect. This is, no, there again. Shapes iron into cutting tools and does his work over coals. Fashions it with a hammer and makes a strong arm. It's made, well, this is just, now these words might go someplace, but they are very important. Because I have such like work like this, except for that here it's making the iron tools to do his work over coals. Well, you'd think that's a blacksmith, okay? Fashions with a hammer, works on a strong arm. But he also gets hungry, and his strength fails. Like trying to. Our Creator's saying that a man a man has these problems, or a male has these problems. Of course they do. He gave it to us. He would know. He wouldn't be stupidly saying these things. He drinks water and becomes weary. Of course. Now, using red chalk. No, like I said, he works with plant. Like the beauty of man, and it sits in his house. You know that this verse was added after the guy wrote these. I mean, I can find these verses that once this text was written and then it passed on to the next guy is adding these words inside this stuff. So I don't need this text. It can only be said so many times. And then you get, I mean, if you were to read, I think there's like 160,000 words in our Creator's hidden formats. And I know it's in there at least 6 times. So in this text, if I kept every one of them, it'd be like 30. So, because I've only done Jeremiah and the small prophets and Daniel and the Psalms. So surely he cuts the seeds for himself, takes a cypress or an oak. An oak is a strong wood. A cypress is supposed to be growing next to water. He raises it for himself among the trees of the forest. Well, we know that this guy added the text to this here group. So, no. Because here, because it's wood, it's not a god. But he makes it in a god and worships it, bows down before it. All been said before. Yep, bowing down and worshiping, talking to it. No. Still talking about how this is almost like a repeat of the words I just got rid of. Roast the meat. So even this would have been a double of a double. He feeds on ashes. A deceiving heart has turned him aside. This is this whole chapter. If it's out, then the words at the beginning are out because they're just pieces of, I think, one of the guys trying to first of their scribes trying to start with the text before all this is happening and then writing a lot of it like their text. Remember these things. It will not be forgotten by me. Well, that would mean that it would be that verse here would be talking about when he sends them into captivity. He also tells them, but you're going to return to the land. Like a heavy mist. A sin is like a heavy mist. Now, if you don't know what a sin is, you got to watch one of the beginning of my videos where, like this one, I guess rewatch it and see that there's 12 commandments. And if you didn't obey one of the 12 commandments, you were to make a sin offering to atone for your not obeying one of those 12. So there's only 12 sins, and they aren't a heavy mist. Okay. See, here's the lower parts of the earth will break forth and shout for joy. And you mountains, forests, and every tree in it. For YHVH has redeemed. Yeah, so this gets funnier and funny when you realize how stupid these words are. Stretched out heavens by himself, all alone. Well, that's what we learned way back in the beginning. Causing omens. Now that's a pagan word if I ever heard of it, stuck in the text. He tells his prophecy to a prophet or a king or a servant, or then they are to come out and relay the information. Not an omen. No. To the depth of the seas be dried up, will make your rivers dry. I don't know. That's a lot of drying up. Cyrus. That's usually a king's name from Persia. And she will be built, and the temple, your foundation will be laid. A pagan place is called a temple. That's where they put their false gods' images in. Our house for our Creator was to make an atonement, and he was appearing above the mercy seat as a light. So here I'm just going to say that this is all out too, but I'm going to leave it like it is, not going to take care of that, re-edit it to clean it up, just say it's out. Okay. Anointed. Anointed is special because it has to do two specific things. One, the priests have to be anointed to be able to work in the courtyard and to minister for our Creator. The other anointment is for who is the king, okay? That they're in this oil for the anointment. This is in his meeting room, and it's oil in a golden pitcher that fills up the lampstand to have the place where the oil is poured with the wick in it to light these 7 candles or 7 lamps to bring light into his meeting room with him. And that's what anointment is. So when they're talking about anointment like this, once you understand the definitions are words that our Creator gave, and you can see this is like a secular use of the word anointed. This, I don't think, is needed. I don't, because if this was Yah, he isn't going to anoint him, literally anoint him. He's going to use his breath as anointment for Jesus to fulfill every statutes and law, and that would be to become a priest. Who might take it? To subdue a nation. No, I'm going to get rid of this. Not needed. Let's have a story about a king and what he done, okay? Let's have a battle exist. Let's have an actual story of something important, like repairing the house or something, or having an argument between the people and a prophet. I will go before you and make the rough places smooth. He could do that without any thinking, so he doesn't have to work at it, but that is stupid. I will give you treasures of darkness and hidden wealth in secret places. This sounds like you're going to sit and meditate to have sex with a so-called female goddess, doesn't it? Secret places in the temple of your head. This goddess is going to appear. Remember, if you've studied mythology, Athena sprung forth in Zeus's head. So just all of a sudden appeared. This is piecemeal. This is like a whole subject right there, and that isn't how it's done. They didn't write like that. See, there is no God. Here again, he's saying that there's another God out there. There is no God. I mean, so yeah, you have not known me. Let men know from the rising to the setting, there is no one beside me. And this, if they didn't put this in, we have a sun god Ra here that, actually I can show you in Psalms. I don't know quite what the numbers are, but there's one that says the sun is God. So, or the sun is like God. And then another verse got, he clothes himself in light, and he made the earth and the heavens and the stars and the moon, but didn't create the sun. He is the sun. But that's a different time how people had concepts of God. MYV who does all these things, like we have to be told, we understand who he is. And once we do, we don't need to be repeated and told. Like, you got to imagine, these are words that are supposed to be presented to the people. Drip down from heavens from above, pour down righteousness, and the earth will open up, the salvation bear fruit. Now, does that sound like how you're going to get to heaven, or a participation of a heavenly nature? Woes to who quarrel with this maker. Yes. Now that text is a long story. I don't see this needed to be, though, again. He's saying that people are comparing him to a god to a potter, and that doesn't make any sense. Or at least like it's an argument between the maker and something that is false. Well, it is useful what the potter makes, but I guess I didn't think it all the way through, but it's just a bad example here. People are so stupid to ask questions like this. We don't know who his sons are concerning his sons. Okay. Who made the earth, created man, and power stretched out the heavens with my hand, and ordained all their host. The stars are known as hosts now. Okay. They become the gods. They become stars in the heaven. And you notice right here, YHVH host, like the sun god and all the hosts out there in the heavens. And the planets are known as Roman gods, and they're still named after pagan gods. and there is none else, no other gods. God. So again, truly you are a God who hides himself, God of Israel's Savior. Nope. We've have that pretty much above. It's a shame and humiliation above. Israel has been saved in everlasting salvation for all eternity. These brackets mean this text were found in maybe one manuscript, so they're going to add all of it here. Anyways, and there, I am YV and there's no one else. I mean, why does I have not spoken a secret or in some dark land, did not say to the offspring of Jacob, seek me in a waste place. My YV speak righteousness and declare all things are upright. Okay. Belittling our Creator there. Here again, talking about these idols again. So, declare and set forth, indeed, let them counsel together and announce this from old, who has long since declared it, so that I not YV, and there is no God other than me. Oh man, I'm even getting tired of saying it this many times, and here it is again. They just don't give up. And from his mouth in righteousness, every knee and every tongue, or every knee will bow, every tongue will swear. Nope. No, that's bad. That's bad because this video isn't even an hour long. I didn't even find any good text or really give you an example of my knowledge of showing what's good. All I could do was point out how crappy their writing is and not understanding our Creator. But 2 more chapters down, and maybe later today I will try to do 2 more. I don't know how far ahead I am in the text to break it down like this, because I usually work on it in the morning and make sure I get 2, and then in the afternoon I do another 2. So, but that's going to be the end of the video for today. Sorry, but that's what happens.